This is Brother Ron, and welcome to We All Be News Radio and TV, the news-free Dixie for the 21st century.
Well, we all be is once again honored to have on the one and only Dr. Randy Short, a man who, in the words of Duke Ellington, is truly beyond category. Fantastical human being, people's champ advocate, researcher beyond comparison, beyond category, and public intellectual extraordinaire. How are you doing today, sir?
Now, I am blessed, and again, thank you for the phenomenal work that you're doing. All the great people that you interview and put the word out. And I can't thank you enough for when I had my first documentary out. Nobody was watching it until you talked about it. So I hope you share.
I appreciate it.
About 2 more documentaries that I'm featured in. And I'm actually hoping that people are following and supporting and PayPaling and Patreoning you, because we can do anything with resources. The scriptures say money answereth all things. So I hope your money is answering the things that you need to advance your dream with We All Be Radio.
Thank you so much, Dr. Shaw. We really appreciate that, and we received that blessing. But there's so much stuff to talk about. I mean, it's like we're overwhelmed with stuff, a lot of distractions. But there's a lot of truth out there as well, too. And you are one of the truth tellers of our generation. So I want to talk to you a little bit, I guess, on the pop culture side, but also on a real tip about what's going on with Kanye West. Your thoughts about that?
Ooh. Okay, we're going to get the painful stuff done first. All right, good. My best buddy, when I finished divinity school at Harvard in 91, I had a job with the Post. I worked for the Marriott Corporation, and then I worked for when I was working for Marriott Corporation in 1992, there was a gentleman that I would always hook up. You know, when I worked hospitality, customer service, I always try to do extra stuff for Black people to make them feel welcome. Mm-hmm. And part because the people above me didn't like it, so it was my way to spite them, give Black folks free stuff, wine. White people do that for white people. Why can't I do it for Black people? Okay. And one of the guys that I would do stuff for said, I want you to meet a friend of mine. So I says, okay. And he asked me to go over someplace, the 600 block of Massachusetts Avenue, Northeast. And I was sitting out there and when I was sitting out there, a guy, dude about 5'9", glasses, seemed like a studious type person, came in and we started talking, and his name was Ray. And it turned out Ray was waiting for the same person, and it was some network marketing Ponzi scheme BS that I was being. This guy's name was Will something. Wanted us in, and we went. I didn't do the little garbage that they did, but I did stay in touch with the guy, Ray, and we talked about politics and race and so forth. And over time, just in the 92, we just talked a lot. And he said, I'm not married. I'm not married right now. I'm just coming out of divorce. I said, really? Okay, well, cool. Well, just one divorce isn't so bad. I said, no, I've been divorced like 2 or 3 times. I think it may have been 3 times or 2 times. At least 2 times I've been divorced. Says, well, divorced already. At least you don't have any children. Says, oh, yeah, I have a son. Says, really? I says, okay, well, what's his name? He says, my son is Kanye. And I was like, what's Kanye? What is? It's like, all right, fine, Kanye. So he explained it's a kind of African name or whatever. I said, okay, I'll meet your son. In the summer, I think I met this man early spring of 92. He asked me to come by his place. He was staying in Tacoma Park, Maryland, just outside of D.C. It's a part of Tacoma Park is in D.C. and part of it is in Prince George's County. And Ray had gotten a HUD foreclosed condo property. That's like basement level. And the reason he invited me over was he wanted me to meet Kanye. And when I came in, Kanye was just up mixing music. Seemed like a nice kid. He and his dad were making smoothies because his father, Raymond, was at the American Bible College, I think. It's in Atlanta, Maryland. Mm-hmm. He was working on a master's degree in Christian counseling. His father was a Republican. His father was very, very religious. He didn't like cussing or like drinking or like smoking. He's very much into health. And he worked for a corporation called Paychecks. And Ray is this very serious person. On top of that, Ray was selling personal safety devices and home safety devices. He's a very entrepreneurial, bright, tight guy. Anyway, he introduced me to Kanye, and I never will forget how he introduced me to Kanye. And I don't think Kanye will forget how he introduced me to Kanye. Mm. He said, this is my friend Randy. Randy has 4 degrees. I want you to be like him. And I would have never, I don't talk to you like, degrees. They haven't been done much for me financially. So I run around screaming about them, except for when someone tries to refer to me as if I don't know what I'm talking about. And Kanye never forgot that, because when he did his first album, College Dropout, mm-hmm. There's a monologue of a father and son arguing on the record. Yeah. That is about the meeting that Kanye and I had with his dad. Mm. I'm the person that Kanye is making reference to and mocking his father's voice with the 4 degrees. Mm. Okay, now, I'm just saying this. By the way, that same day, Ray wanted me to meet his ex-wife, Donda. And when I spoke, she was checking to see how Kanye was doing. And I'll just break this down. There's like this Oedipal conflict, or this fight between where the mother didn't want Kanye to be as close to his father. Like I said, the father's this very conservative type brother. He may have been a little wild when he was a Black Panther, where he met the mother at Atlanta University. I think he went to Clark. They went to Clark together, and he's in the Panthers and all this. But once she divorced him because Atlanta proved to be bootylicious to Kanye's dad. It's just Kanye's father's a really nice, a beautiful person. When he was younger, before he got converted, became a Christian, he spent a lot of his life in Germany, and then in predominantly white environments because his father was in the military. When he got down to Atlanta, his father had never seen so many fine Black women down at Atlanta University. Mm-hmm. And although he married her, I don't know the order of whether Kanye came. I don't know exactly how quickly between the time they met or marriage, whatever, but In a nutshell, Ray had wandering eyes and probably wandering members. And I think this contributed to Donda divorcing her husband, Ray. Ray had a major change in his life because he never wanted to be separated from his son or his wife. And Donda never forgave Ray. She's unforgiving. So Ray tried to reconcile and save or get married again or whatever, and she never let him come back. And he married and had a couple of very difficult marriages. And one thing he was proud of was he loved Kanye. I mean, when you hear him talk about Kanye, I mean, he's just, he's so happy because that's the only child he has that I'm aware of. Mm-hmm. What happened around the time I met Kanye, and shortly thereafter, Kanye got deeper and deeper into music, and Ray wanted Kanye to go to school and have a really good education like his mother and his father had. And Kanye was really into rap, hip-hop, producing music. At a certain point, Ray, who trusts me, and I love Ray, he's a good guy, began to tell me he had real fears about Kanye going into the music business. Almost like nightmarish fears. And initially I heard him out, but at a certain point, because Kanye was beginning to do all kinds of stuff, be with P. Diddy, do this, his father and I had arguments for maybe 3 years about Kanye. I was pro Kanye going into the music business. And Ray was saying, you don't know Kanye. I'm his dad. Kanye's going to just go off the deep end if he gets in that business. And I was saying to his father, look, Ray, in a sense, the eras when you were with his mom put you in a position where the mothers taught him to disobey you or to be rebellious against you. And if you try to counter his desire to make it in the music business, it'll only push him further from you. You have to embrace his interest in music as a means to have a place of reaching your son where she can't pit you against your boy. And if you believe in God and you have faith that we can pray and support and get close to Kanye, maybe we can prevent him from going off the deep end like you fear. But if that's in his mind and his heart, he's going to do it. And we had this argument for years. I mean, it got really heated. And Ray, you can't stop people's dreams based on your fears. And I says, well, you don't know Kanye. I says, I don't. But I do know when people are determined to do something, the last person they want to hear tell them no is a divorced parent. He's going to do this. I said, you've got to put structure to keep him from going off the deep end. He's already said in his mind he's going to do it. Look in his eyes. You're his daddy, right? Anyway, in the summer of 1999, or the spring of 1999, they had an auto show at the old D.C. Convention Center, which has long since been knocked down. I got a call from Ray, and Ray asked me to hang out with him and Kanye. And so we rode over in their convertible to the convention center, looked at all the cars. Since I can't drive, an auto show ain't that interesting to me. And then all of a sudden, we got down to what the issue was. Ray driving, sitting in the back of the car with Kanye driving, proceeded, or no, I think I was in the back. Maybe I'm somewhere. Anyway, what happens, Ray tells me Kanye wants to go into the business, and I'm telling him he can't go. And I want you to tell him not to go into the business. And I says, Ray, I already told you I'm not against a person doing what they feel is best, provided it's not negative. And Ray was just like putting it down about how his feelings were. And so I'm in the middle of Kanye, who I don't know as well, and his father, who come to my house. We go to movies, go to church together. We would go and work in the homeless shelter. I mean, he's a really good man, Ray. And Kanye, I think to check stuff, he says, I just want you to hear something. And he put a tape in the, remember the audio tapes? He had an audio tape. And it was, I think it's called Lovely Senorita. I'll never forget hearing it. Mm-hmm. He was rapping, and he had these Spanish guitars and stuff mixed in, and it was beautiful. And I told him, stop the music. And Kanye got upset. And I said, no, I didn't tell you to stop because I didn't like it. I said, Kanye, you're going to have more Grammys than Stevie Wonder. You're going to be in the top 3. Your first album's going to make in the top 3 albums, the top 5. And you're going to be the best rapper, best known in the world, very shortly. Okay? Everything's going to be platinum for you. I says, believe that. Take my word. I don't compliment people. I think you know that about me, Heard. I don't like you. I hate. But it's just. And I told Kanye, you're going to be one of the greats. And your father's going to have to cope with that. I said, so Kanye, we have a problem. You've got your dreams, and your father has his paternal religious reservations. And these are in conflict. And I've been put in a very odd place because I really don't like hip-hop in general. But I just love what I heard you play. I haven't heard anything this good since the old school stuff. And I know you're just aching to disobey and rebel against him, practically anything he says. And at the same time, I don't want him to stifle or stymie you. So I says, well, look, Kanye, let's make a deal. First and foremost, your father's main reservations isn't with you being a musician, Kanye. Your father doesn't want you to become an embarrassment to black people and to disgrace your father and your mother and your people, making and doing a lot of ignorant things that are unbecoming of how you were brought up. Okay? I told him, I went to UVA with people who lived in $500,000, $1 million homes, who were running around acting like gangsters. And yet somebody like me from working class D.C. that lives in one of those thin townhouses where you can hear the people having sex next door, they would look down on where I live in Edgewood or Eckington in D.C. But yet on the campus, they're coming across like they're thugs, like their parents didn't go to Stanford or to Syracuse. And Ray doesn't like this, and I hate it too. But Kanye, you still want to do this music thing. So here's what I'm going to do, Kanye. Okay? If you promise me that you're not going to be calling folks hoes and bitches and pretending like you grew up in the projects when you're a little preppy from suburban Chicago, and you're not running around tripping on booties, toasting drugs, I am willing to go against your father for you. But I need your promise that you're not going to make black folks or yourself or your mother, your father look stupid. That you're not going to get on drugs. You're not going to be a hoe. You're not going to be a promosexual. And that you're going to have some dignity. I mean, nothing wrong with music, but nobody needs any more of this perverse filth out here. Am I making myself understood that I'm not against you? I'm not an old humbug brother trying to, stymie your game. And his father was mad. And I says, I'll fight him. I know how to deal with him. but I need you to really say something to the people. And Kanye was listening, and I says, Kanye, look, hip-hop is bankrupt. It's not saying anything like it used to. It's been hijacked. But what you could do before you break out is take some time to think about doing some concept albums, so when you first come out, you got something saying where everybody's listening. Are you familiar with concept albums? I began to talk to him about concept albums. There's a concept album, Love is the Thing, right? Nat King Cole, Marvin Gaye, What's Going On, Stevie Wonder's, Innovisions, Music of My Mind, Musicarium, Songs the Key of Life. I mentioned the Beatles. I mentioned Pet Sounds by the Beach Boys, talking about actually really saying something. Even the Jackson 5 did a kind of concept dancing with that thing, Dancing Machine, that to have a unified message that people can enjoy. And I said, Kanye, I get the music business, okay? They're going to want you to sing about pussy and dick, dick and pussy, dick lost pussy, pussy lost dick, dick loves pussy, pussy hates dick, dick loves pussy, dick and pussy back together. I understand that they're going to want, of your 12 songs, they're going to want mostly that. But try to make at least 2 songs on your album mean something beyond the garbage that you have to do to please the crooked people in the music business, and you'll come out all right. And he says, well, what kind of concept can I do now? Well, I worked for Amnesty International as country specialist for the Sudan back then. And I said, Kanye, have you ever heard of conflict diamonds where they're cutting off all these people's hands for us to get diamonds to put on our rings and the wrappers on their chains and so forth? Nobody's done any music about conflict diamonds. Maybe you could do that. Are you with me, brother?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That was the last time I spoke to Kanye. But I do know that song, Diamonds Are Forever, came out.
Wow.
I didn't talk to Ray for a while after that. And the next time I remember talking to Ray was in 2000. Well, actually what happened, I went to Germany for Amnesty International in 2004. I think April 2004. When I was looking at the news in Berlin, I saw that Kanye's album was in the top 4 in the Billboard charts. I literally woke up to the TV, I fell asleep, and it was talking about Kanye. As soon as I got home, I looked for the cards because Kanye didn't have cards. He wrote his number on the back of a card, and I called that number, and Kanye had changed his number. I hadn't called Kanye, man. I don't chase after people and whatever. So I haven't been able to talk to him, but I did talk to his father. And then 2005, Kanye's father and I, because his father, like what he's doing right now, if he's unhappy or he just disappears, you don't hear from him. You can't find him. I can write him and via email. I don't hear anything. That's how his father responds to stuff. So I haven't heard from Ray. I thought there was someone in the Dominican Republic I thought was his father. I was writing him, but that wasn't him. But his father and I talked in 2005 or 6, and his father told me, Randy, you're the only person I know that he listens to. And I said, well, Ray, you got to let me talk to him again. We've got to talk. It's very important. It didn't happen. And, I get it. I mean, things happen. But just before I moved to Tennessee, like a week or so, actually, I went and did an interview at Lane College in July of 2007. And I went to get my hair cut. You know, the barber shops on Georgia Avenue above Howard University, above the street. I was there, and I wanted to get my hair cut for my interview before flying out to Jackson, actually to Nashville, and then taking, a chauffeured ride from Nashville to Jackson. Okay, you know what happened? I get to the barber shop, and when I get into the chair, the Ellen show comes on. And the special feature for Ellen DeGeneres was Donda West with Kanye talking about a book, Raising or Bringing Up Kanye. And what happened on the show, I was all right with it. I was telling people in the barber shop that Kanye needs to be closer to his dad because his mom's kind of wild. Okay? And what happened, as Kanye and his mother, before they went to a break, Kanye shouts out with the audience, "I love looking at pornography," with his mother sitting next to him on national television. And I says, this boy's mom's not going to live too long. And all the people in there started fussing at me. You don't know nothing about that boy. You don't know him. And you can't say how long anybody's mother's going to live. Okay? Well, I kept thinking about it and saying, man, Ray has to get Kanye back from his mom because that's the last person he needs to be around if he's going to say with his mom next to him on television he's into porn. That's a problem. Would you ever say that, sit next to your mom on national television, that you enjoy watching porn all the time?
I don't think I would, but who knows, man? I mean, the Lord of the fame thing.
So, well, his mother died in either 2007 or 2000. I think she died 2007 to 2008, between those years.
Right.
Okay. She was dead within a year of saying she's going to die. And people treat me like I'm crazy. She sure is dead. I'm sorry she's dead. Now, I just need to say to you, when I met Kanye and I talked to his mother, she cussed me out. She talked to me so poorly. I couldn't believe it. You don't even know me. What are you talking? But this was to show disrespect for Kanye's father. So I was nobody that she even should say hello, or all I did was say hello, how you doing? And she just cussed me out, went off, and was just tripping on me. And I just remember saying, God, please, don't let us ever have to talk again. I don't need this. And by the way, that was the first and last time I talked to Donda West. Mm-hmm. All right. Donda West dies. Everybody says Kanye sacrificed her. I don't believe that. And what I said to Ray West, is that when I did finally catch him, I did two things. We talked about Donda and Kanye. And I wanted him to meet Yvonne Chappelle, Dave Chappelle's mom, because I said, you guys both have famous, controversial children, sons. Y'all might be able to support and talk to one another. So I introduced Yvonne to Ray. They talked for a while, but I don't know what happened with that. That's how I am. I want black folk to help come together somehow and help each other. We're always under stress. But what I said to Ray, I offered condolences on the passing of his first wife, but I says, Ray, why was she trying to get her breast redone to impress those young boys around Kanye? That's a hell of a price to pay. You see, people out here are so quick to say something bad about Kanye and say that he killed his mama and all this other garbage without recognizing that just maybe what happened to her was her trying to be a cougar off of the entourage of his son. or the people around. And things like that happen, okay? That's how I think. I don't think Kanye sacrificed his mom, but I do think Kanye being in the music business with all that wildness and other things brought about a situation wherein there was money and the time and the possibility for her to make a really awful decision that cost her his life, cost Kanye his mother, cost Raymond West his first real love, and it's brought a whole lot of negative ramifications spiritually on Kanye. All right? And something else, and I'm not making any judgments. People called the group that Kanye was with the Backpack Gang and made all sorts of references to maybe the young guys were kind of weak or effeminate or whatever. I don't know these people. I'm not saying anything one way or the other. I know folks will swear by it, but that isn't something that I'm prepared to do because I don't know anything about these gentlemen. But I do know that Kanye's father is zero tolerance on gayness. Okay? He's absolutely has no interest in having a gay son or gay anything. That's just him, straight up. You have no business doing it, okay? So if there's any odd, strange stuff that you know goes on in that business, filth that goes on in that business, confusion that goes on in that music business that someone may have been introduced to, exposed to, or participated in, his father's the last person he's going to be able to just sit down and say, hey, Dad, I made a mistake. Or even if he didn't do it, I'm around these people doing this. His father's not going to be cool with that. So when you think about the fact that Kanye's the only child, he has no sisters or brothers, right? And he's not close or connected to the West family. I don't know how tight he is with the other people on his mom's side. Then Kanye ends up with this sex magic broad with the artificial booty. It looks nice, but, you know, artificial fruit looks nice, but you can't eat it. All right?
Yes, sir.
So Kanye is surrounded by these, I think they're Armenian Jews, and these folks aren't good for the man's soul. I'm not trying to bust up anything. If you got to be with well, at least she's a kind of attractive Becky, but these people are nothing like the non-denominational fundamentalism of his dad. I mean, this dad's a righteous dude. I mean, Thanksgiving and Christmas going down to the gospel mission in Chinatown in D.C., feeding the hungry and the homeless. I hope I don't sound like I'm tearing down Kanye or his dad. I hope I'm not trying to tear down. When you care about people, I'm not trying to trash anyone.
Yes, sir.
I hope it doesn't sound like that to you.
No, I think I'm giving a balance, you know, your perspective. I don't think it's bashing anybody. Just being honest.
And so I haven't heard from Ray now in 10 years.
Wow.
I know that when Kanye went off, when the white girl, Tyler Swift, whatever she is, and he had his hair cut and he was running with Amber and all this stuff, I'm pretty certain if his father, who feared and saw this stuff coming, he's got to really feel bad. And you know what's interesting? You never hear about his father, Ray's presence with these children that Kanye has. And I'm going to say something. You know, I know one thing I know Ray couldn't deal with. There's no way that Ray West is going to want to be around no Caitlyn Jenner. This is absolutely, I'm just telling you, that's World War 50. So if you had only one son that you loved, and his father-in-law has artificial boobs, calling himself Woman of the Year, his father has to feel a heavy sense of loss. And Kanye, who acknowledged that he was on opioids and all this other stuff, he's in real bad moral, ethical, spiritual shape. But when you look at people like Cosby, you look at people like Tiger Woods, you look at people like OJ, they surround themselves or get surrounded by opportunistic, decadent, hedonistic, connected white folks. Huh?
Yes, sir.
And black folk, I don't know any Kardashians. I don't know. It's almost impossible. I don't know of any way to get to anyone that I would know. I don't know how to get to anybody that could talk to say, hey, look, man, I don't want a record or I don't want any money. I just want to, in fact, I just want to talk to your father because I figure at least we're friends for real. I just know you're a son of a close friend. So I believe he's in trouble. I believe that that's a vicious, demonic, satanic business. I believe that this guy is trying to break out of where he is, but like the prodigal son in the book, you can find yourself in the hog pen before you find your way back home. And I hope he finds his way back home alive, you know?
Mm-hmm.
That's what I want to say about Kanye.
Cool.
Kanye's father, I'm certain, loves this boy. And I saw something, Wendy Williams, her silly Pisces of fish-looking self, made a statement about his father. Ray West tried. Ray West was a good father. Ray West has been supportive of his son. But, you know, when children get a certain age, they do what they want to do. He's a grown-ass man. So let us hope that he can detox. Someone can get to him and pull him away from those folks. But I'll tell you something about Kanye. My buddies who I want you to talk to in Chicago, there were some people, Fred Hampton Jr., they know Kanye. Kanye got away from all the people in the hood who would protect them from people who weren't treating them with respect and so forth. But it was Fred Hampton Jr. who went off on Kanye to make Kanye go off on Bush over Hurricane Katrina, if you want to know where that came from.
Mm.
That was to get street cred with the brothers back in Chicago who were saying, you got to give something back. Kanye has not been generous back in Chicago to people who were with him way back. And so we see this story over and over again of people getting out there, becoming big and important and forgetting the people that they came up with. This is why, brother, I don't have a problem as long as people treat me right, no matter how far or high up I get, to do your show or other people, even people's blog shows, as long as they treat me right.
Mm-hmm.
Because not before, I did Press TV before I met you, I did RT before I met you. I mean, I've done television off and on since I was 15 and radio since I was 12. At some point I'm doing it. I mean, so it's a long time at 53. But the people who helped me when I was coming up or when I've been in the process of becoming are the same people I want to deal with always. We may have a falling out like that woman that you had called me but said she became a sex slave after 12. I just said, I can't heard, don't send me nobody else like that. I mean, it's not that they weren't cute or whatever, but I'm trying to help you. I'm not trying to get none. Mm-hmm. Not someone telling me you're getting raped by people. Why would I want some of that? I mean, may confuse my DNA with the rapist and they come and lock me up. No.
You got a point.
I'll take the vegetarian alternative, sister. Where's my hand? There you go. I'm fine now. Okay. Now, so that's Kanye. I feel really bad about Kanye because you need to know I tried to do something with Malcolm Shabazz. We were getting there and folks didn't like our relationship. They separated him from me and they killed him. I tried, and Marion Barry's son reached out to me, and then I guess the people around him didn't want him talking to me. And now he's dead.
Wow.
Okay? I've had some people that I reached out to Darren Seal, try to get a rapport with Seal, and he couldn't perceive. Ain't trying to do nothing. I just have love for people struggling. Could never get the connection. He's gone. I hate to see young black men or women that you care about be destroyed. And sometimes it's because of their mindset or drugs or something that gets in the way of what they could be. Because someone wants to destroy them. I'm a Christian. I believe that Satan comes to kill, steal, and destroy. That there are things destroying us, and we need strong, upright people to be around.
Mm-hmm.
And the only thing I'll say is Yvonne Sion, I wanted me to be friends to Dave for me to be of some help to him. I've never quite had the opportunity because it's a similar thing of folks being surrounded by, and certain folks don't get, the mental space to say, hey, brother, I see you now and then. Who are you? You get where I'm coming from.
Right.
I'm not saying anything bad about that brother other than, always keep some of these people in prayer, and particularly if they're truly creative, if they're truly insightful people like Dave is, then they see a lot of pain.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of entertainers, Marvin Gaye, a distant cousin of mine, had a lot of pain. Yeah, I'll break that down real fast. Marvin Gaye's mother's a Cooper from Rocky Mount, North Carolina. She went to the same high school as my grandmother, and my grandfather, is from Rocky Mount, Wilson. The Coopers are our family. So, yeah, Marvin Gaye is my cousin to his mom.
Okay.
Can't sing as well as him, but you know what made it freaky?
Hold up.
My auntie is Kim Weston that used to sing with Marvin. You have to have her on your show. I'm going to give you her number.
Okay.
And it blew my mind. This is real talk. When she came to our family reunion, because my uncle named his first daughter for Kim Weston. And it turns out my cousin Kim, short elder, looks just like Kim Weston. Imagine you naming someone for someone, the child turns out looking like them as an adult. And I was talking to her Kim the other day. And when Kim was here, 2011, Kim told me, she came and woke me up because we were sharing the same hotel room, and says, I'm so glad you had me come to your family reunion. I really like your mother. And I'm like, okay. And I want to tell you something about yourself and your family. So I'm like, okay. She says, I really like your mother. Says, why? That's just because your mother reminds me of my best friend in the 60s. Says, well, who's that? Mrs. Gay. And I says, my mother doesn't look like Marvin Gaye's mother. She started yelling at me. I knew her. I used to eat her fried chicken. Your mama and Mrs. Gay could be twins when they are the same age. Says, now something else I want to say to you. You are like Marvin Gaye. You have a conflict. There's a conflict between your father and you over your mother.
Wow.
And it's like, oh my God. Well, there's some of that, a little truth in that. And she says, your family's just like Marvin Gaye's family. It's kind of true. In fact, my father was friends to Marvin Gaye's dad, the the cross dresser.
Okay, your dad didn't cross dressing like that, right? He didn't do that.
No, my dad was no. My dad wasn't a cross dresser. And Frankie Gay, Marvin Gaye's younger brother, was in my father's singing group and Bible study group. Went to the same high school, Stingon High School. Okay. So, they are cousins.
Wow.
Okay. My father, you know, he's so religious and not into popular music, never explored as to why. Our families were so closely connected. But yeah, isn't that amazing? Who's what, whom? I mean, I don't know. And imagine, I didn't really think about it until Kim Weston said to me, "You're like Marvin Gaye." I said, you know, my brother used to say stuff like that, but I thought my brother, you know, my brother. But when she says yes, you're just like the Gaye family. And one of the things I learned when you do genealogy is when people have family dynamics and talent and all this stuff in common, they're often related, even if they don't know it. Mm-hmm. And that's when I started trying to understand where the family came from. And I found out, oh, my God, I am related to him. I never thought about it. Okay, so anyway, now for that, let's do my other family member. Let's talk about Bill Cosby.
Yes.
Okay, so fire away. I'm done with Kanye. Did I answer questions? Does this sound like, is that something you think your audience would want to hear?
Oh, they would love it. I mean, that background story, I mean, it'd be funny if he'd come out and say something about it. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, I know Dr.
I know Kanye. I know this, that we didn't put, I didn't trash nobody.
Oh, no, you didn't.
And you know I can drop kick.
Oh, yeah, you good at that. I mean, you got verbal judo over there. You're a master at that. But I want to ask you about his thoughts about what he said about slavery as a choice and the other things he's been saying that seem to have people upset.
Being with the white woman's a choice. Slavery is called involuntary servitude. Now, if Kanye is talking about mental slavery, where blacks in the last 50 years decide not to move forward, he's got a point. However, he poorly articulated my interpretation of what he said. However, what I will say to you, my family lived in the Dismal Swamp, okay? The Dismal Swamp, you know, between Virginia and North Carolina.
Yeah. My
folks refused to be slaves, and our family just wouldn't do it. They just wouldn't. So, in a sense, being subordinate to other people does require the acquiescence and the cooperation of the dominated.
Yep, I agree.
And so there is a degree of that in all instances. Let me tell you, you know, in jail, they have to let the prisoners get high and have sex and use drugs in order to control the prisoners. In the prisons right now. In fact, they have to give a degree of freedom to the prisoners in order to control them. Wow. They were too tough on the prisoners. They'd rebel all the time, right? So they give us just enough freedom to keep us compliant with the system. Huh?
Yeah, that makes sense.
And so, in reality, we support, most black people are supporters of white supremacy and white hegemony. I can pick my favorite place, the black church. You can get a Negro preacher to go to Harvard or Yale or to, what's that place? ITC in Atlanta and get all the information about the African origins of the Bible and the people there. And yet, when they get a church, if the Sunday materials have all white people and the white Jesus is up everywhere, then that little pale sissy and all the little strange albinos in the publications and the fans remain the same. Nobody white made them have those fans. Nobody white made them have that literature. Nobody white made them have the iconography in their church. Not now. But you can go in a black church and almost everything's white. Except for the devil. Okay? And I can go on and on. Ebony Magazine, 1969, put a black Jesus on the cover. Ebony almost went out of business. Black people so angry. How dare you? So a lot of people In the words of the friend of Superfly, was I'm a slave, but I'm a rich-ass slave, before he called up the white folks to have Superfly killed, or attempt to have him killed. Black folks are happy to be rich-ass slaves, most of us. So, in that instance, I agree with Kanye. And if it made a lot of black people angry, especially the coons, I'm glad he said it. Not so much that I agree with the way it was interpreted, but a lot of black folks, they need to be insulted and slapped around, beat up. But wake up. There's a war going on. And there are too few people doing the fighting for black people's self-defense, self-determination, and freedom. We got a lot of jive, fake people, freeloaders, grifters, passive thugs, riding the fence. We need to electrify that and put a taser up there behind. Why do you have to work so hard to promote your show with all the good stuff you're putting out there? Why do certain preachers and folks I've seen trying to do the right thing have to work so hard? And the little crooked devils, like Klepto Dollar.
Klepto Dollar. I like that.
She's a fake instead of Jakes. It's fake. That's what I just said. These people have it so easy, and righteous black folk have it so hard. You know, Martin Luther King talked about in the book, Where Do We Go From Here, Chaos or Community? He talked about the absolutely minimal numbers of black people doing what was necessary to turn things around, and how the majority weren't doing anything. W.B. Du Bois, who I often disagree with, has an essay called The Meaning of Progress. And he talked about if everybody sacrificed, then sacrifices wouldn't fall so heavily on anybody. But if a few have to sacrifice all for the many, then it's too much of a burden. So I see it every day of my life, treason and voluntary slavery. I see it at the HBCUs. I see it in black organizations. I see it in the black woman who is the penthouse centerfold, Playboy centerfold, who jumps out the window, killing her half-white baby and herself. Why in God's name are you exposing your vagina to men that hate you in the first place, fool? And why did you feel justified to kill your half-black baby? You know, wow. I mean, I look at the Congressional Black Caucus. There are almost 50 of them. Why can't they have some hearings on poisonous water in Flint and in Brooklyn and in Newark and Philly and in Baltimore and in D.C. and in Houston? Huh? I mean, they can't have a conversation. We're not talking about throwing a brick or say kill Whitey. Just talk about it. Isn't that what Congress people do? Not these slaves, brother. Okay? And these people are voluntary slaves. Huh? Yeah. If my folks could be free in the Dismal Swamp, to the point that Nat Turner was trying to move into our neighborhood, that's where they stopped him from going. They knew where he wanted to go, to our neighborhood. Huh? If black folks could be free when slavery was the law of the land, we don't have a lot of excuses right now. And I'm not talking about everybody. But look at some of this. Look at how stupid black people were over OFAGA. They didn't do nothing for us. You had DACA and DAPLA, jobs and scholarships and public housing and SNAP for illegal aliens as they dispossess black folks. And I see these coons with Obama T-shirts and paraphernalia. I hope the Klan run up on them. Dummies. I'm glad they have a injunction against his library. In fact, I hope they arrest Obama just for it to traumatize the Boule coons and the Boule wannabes, because a lot of black folks talk bad about the Boule because they're not one, not because they hate what they stand for. A lot of black folks, they don't hate racism in general. They hate racism against them. Hate all the rest of them, be nice to me. Discriminate against all the rest of them, but let me in. That's a disgusting trait in black folks. So if Kanye rasped those fools, cool. I just hope it was intelligence and not opioids talking.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Next question.
Oh, we move on to your relative, Bill Cosby.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Bill Cosby. All right. Anybody with any sense and anybody that knows Dick Gregory knows that Bill Cosby was Dick Gregory's replacement at the Playboy Club, right?
Mm-hmm.
We know Hugh Hefner was a pedophile hoe and possibly an agent of the CIA. All right? You don't go to the Playboy Mansion to read the 23rd Psalm. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. You go to the Playboy Mansion because the Lord ain't my shepherd and I want it all. I'm not saying Bill Cosby did everybody, but I will say if you go to a place where folks have orgies and all this kind of stuff, there's a chance that you're going to do some too. A chance. And in that fast life in Hollywood and back in the 60s, before all the VD got so difficult to get rid of, a lot of people was hoes. A lot of people been hoes. And I'm tired of folks acting like Bill Cosby was the only hoe back then. And by the way, a lot of folk wanted Bill Cosby because he's famous. Famous people, in fact, I wrote an article about venereal disease at Howard University when I was an undergrad, when I was a grad student, I'm sorry. And one of the comments I made was, I wish the sisters would only have sex with the boys on the football team when they won, so they'd have an incentive to win. Don't sex them when they lose. That's not, a hoe don't pay you when you don't do it when you don't pay. So all you have to do is put on a uniform, be a bus driver. Someone's ready to jump your bones. That's how things are. So don't tell me that when Bill Cosby's getting Emmys on I Spy and got caught, that there weren't women throwing it at him. And everybody knows, white women, when it comes down to black men, and for that matter, for the lesbians, white women are basically the most permissive females in the world. You know, to quote Cole Porter, any and everything goes. And everybody knows that sex, quaaludes, booze, come on, if you went to a white school, they have the parties, they get drunk, they have sex. That's what they do. They act like Bill Cosby is different. If he was, he's just one in the number. You don't see Mick Jagger getting picked up. You don't see David Bowie, a pedophile. He just died, get picked up. You don't hear about these, a lot of these people, you don't hear about the guys in KISS, Knights in Satan's Service, getting picked up. You don't hear about a lot of these movie stars and people that screwed everything that walked getting picked up. And it seems as if only Bill Cosby had a hard-on from about 1965 to 1985. If he's the last penis standing, he was doing a public service. Quote me. And all these people rape. White women have been lying about rape all of our lives and the lives of our parents and grandparents and great-grandparents and so forth. So why would I believe a white woman who didn't get a rape test, didn't follow? White women are so powerless that they could, by the dozens, be raped by a black man and there'd be no punishment. No white zealous officer who loved his white supremacy and his white woman wouldn't come after Bill Cosby. No detective, nobody. Bullshit. There are white folk who are shooting black folks every day over traffic tickets. You really think a white racist officer, if he knew Bill Cosby was raping white women like eating Pringles chips out of a can, that he wouldn't take it upon himself like Mark Furman went after O.J., and we all know Mark Furman was having sex with Nicole Simpson too on O.J.'s dime. racist hypocrite. The bed he was screwing on, OJ paid for. Bigot. So white women lie. Black women lie. And we need to remember something. The woman, Presley, the lawyer that they got rid of, had proved about 8 or 9 out of the 40 women before they stopped her had all lied. Another one has come forward and said she lied. So at least 10 of them have lied. Now, if I add that 10 to over 15 that have been removed from the case in Massachusetts, you're talking about maybe out of 65 women that I'm aware of that have lied on Bill Cosby. I think the number's even big. But I'm going to just put those numbers at 15 plus at 40, that's 55. There's another, they have these numbers everywhere, but just think about it. I'm talking about out of 55 women, there was 10 plus 15. Out of 55 women, 25 of them have been found to have been lying.
Wow.
That's almost half. And so to me, just a probability saying with no evidence, they have no evidence on Bill Cosby, none. If almost half of the women are lying that we know of, I mean, the probability that, and those folks can't produce evidence or anything, then who's to say the rest of them aren't lying? I mean, that's an astounding number of people caught lying. Sounds like a conspiracy to me. Huh?
Yeah, sure.
All of those women lying, proven.
Yeah.
But you know what? I'll tell you, back to Kanye. The slaves say OJ did it. The slaves say Bill Cosby did it. The slaves say Herman Cain did it. The slaves say Tiger Woods did it. And by the way, all of these people accused all had the same racist Jewish feminist named Gloria Allred orchestrating this persecution of black men. I know for a fact that Gloria Allred demanded $100 million from Bill Cosby for all these bimbos to go away, and he refused to pay. And that's when all this stuff started. Cosby's innocent. Now, Bill Cosby, let me just tell you how this happened with me, because I wasn't really paying attention. Let's just break this down. I'm going to do this real fast, and I'll just do the whole family. Outside of Washington, D.C., we have an area called Sandy Spring. Sandy Spring is the oldest free black community in the United States. Sandy Spring is where my mother's family is from. My grandfather was born there. My great-grandmother was born there. My great-great-grandmother was born there. And my family's been there since the 1700s, if not earlier. In fact, many of these people were freed in the 1770s. A lot of people do not know that the Quakers, the Society of Friends, many of them let all their blacks go in 1775, and that was commemorated by the creation of the Liberty Bell in Pennsylvania. It doesn't have a goddamn thing to do with the American Revolution. That's white folks lying like they're lying about this rape that they put on Cosby. Now, moving right back to Sandy Spring. Sandy Spring is the neighborhood, the community that Camille Hanks was born in. Camille Hanks' mother was born in Sandy Spring 22 years to the day before my mother was born. The Hanks are my mother's relatives. Fact. That means Camille's some kind of cousin of mine. Now, jumping down to Virginia, there's a place called Lawrenceville, Virginia, where that fraud Umar Johnson was supposed to buy the St. Paul College, which was started by my ancestors that lived in Lawrenceville, the Short family and other families. They're all related. Lawrenceville is a very small town. It's never been big. I'm going to just give you folks some basic information because black people act like we're not connected to each other.
Mm-hmm.
We are breeding populations, and that's based on demography and demographics. Why? You can't screw someone in Canada. You can only screw someone that, I mean, unless you're like Long Dong, you can reach across the room. You've got to be fairly close to someone to be able to have sex with them. I don't even care if you're an unnatural person.
Mm-hmm.
Unless you're trying to catch something, a special orifice. I'm not going to get into that. I'm going to get out of that. All right. Which means love the ones you're with. Breed with the ones you're with. Which means if you're from due west, North Carolina, or Union City, Tennessee, and it's a small town, if you're there long enough, everybody screwed somebody in the same area. Assume you're related. A lot of black folks think you have to have the same last name. Shows you how stupid we are.
Mm-hmm. All
of that to say that there are less than 2,000 people in Lawrenceville, Virginia today. So if I've had family there for about 170 years or longer, and Bill Cosby's family comes from there, then all of us have been screwing each other for the better part of 200 years. So it's an impossibility that Bill Cosby is not related to me. And when so I just want to say that. Now, the first certified black genealogist in the country is a woman by the name of Thelma Short Doswell. You can Google her. That's my cousin. Thelma Doswell is the first black person to do all this work. In fact, when they had the bicentennial in 1976, they had 6 engraved family trees represent America. The tree that represented the 15% of the population in America that's black was the tree of the Blackwell or Brooks Campbell Short family. I'm a Short. Mm-hmm. All right. Bill Cosby is related to the Short family of Lawrenceville, Virginia. I learned this when I was 10 years old in 1975 because Thelma happened to be one of my teachers in school. All right, moving through that. Our family had a family reunion in 10 years afterwards, in either 85 or 86. No, it's probably 85 or 86. Our family had a reunion in Germantown, Pennsylvania, at the encouragement of Miss Harris. Miss Harris is Bill Cosby's aunt. She's the one that took care of Bill when his mother wasn't around, Bill and Russell Cosby. Mm-hmm. So I knew Bill Cosby's aunt, the woman who helped raise him, because she was my cousin Thelma's best friend in the family. Mm. Bill Cosby refused to meet us. He snubbed his family. He didn't want us. He didn't reach out to us. I can recall his aunt crying because Bill refused. He was not far away, would not even come from his house to meet, say, better part of 2,000 people who had gathered in Philadelphia. Can you imagine? Oh. If you're like 5 or 6 minutes away and 2,000 people gathered, their family, right? Oh. You're America's father. You're America's family person, right? Mm-hmm. But no one asked for any money. We have other famous people in the family. Arthur Ashe being someone else. Arthur Ashe always came and you could touch him and talk to him. Nobody bothered him. He didn't need security. Bill Cosby was either too busy or too distracted or too disinterested. And when his aunt, Mrs. Harris, died, he took out a whole page in Ebony magazine to talk about her life and honor her. But one of the things that she wanted most from Bill that he refused to do was to meet his family. Mm. So understand, after Bill, I watched Bill Cosby's aunt cry. He's that nasty to her about not wanting to know us. My attitude is F Bill Cosby. Mm-hmm. And trust me, over and over again, if I sent you a picture of my Uncle James Short, he looks like Bill Cosby. You know the little mole that Bill Cosby has in his right eye? Mm-hmm. I have a mole in the same place. My father has a mole in the same place. Mm-hmm. My uncle has a mole in the same place. My aunt, You see how Bill Cosby's hair looks now?
Mm-hmm.
That's how my father's hair looked. If I'm going to send you some pictures, you'll realize, oh my God, they do look very similar.
Wow.
And by the way, I was really mad because when I was working in a mental hospital up in Massachusetts before going to Harvard, McLean Hospital, the mental patients would always go wild on Thursday night because the Cosby show is on.
Mm-hmm.
And the people would always come out and scream and point and say, that's you. You're Bill Cosby. You look just like Bill Cosby. And I'd have arguments. And people said, just because we're in a mental hospital doesn't mean that we don't know what Bill Cosby looks like. You're Bill Cosby. Can you imagine hearing that over and over again? That's angry.
Wow.
If I told someone, well, Bill Cosby is distantly related, they'd say, oh, no, you're lying. So, man, so that just people say, oh, you're just like Bill Cosby. Oh, if you do that again, I'm going to punch you. I'm tired of hearing that. Okay. I have a cousin named Suleiman. Suleiman looks exactly like Bill Cosby.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That's the way the men in our family look. You see how Bill Cosby's hair is kind of like fine. It's not nappy.
Mm-hmm. That's
the way our hair is. I have the same kind of hair. You've seen it doesn't curl. I wish it did. I always wanted what people call nappy hair. I have semi-nappy.
Mm-hmm.
Mine sticks up like Don King. And black need to be grateful for their hair. I've tried to get waves. I have to use a whole can of grease to get waves in my hair.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, back to Cosby. I basically got mad with Cosby after that. It's just like, F him. I don't want to know nothing about him. And because if you don't like me, you wouldn't even stop and talk to us and screw you. Now, what happened when Bill Cosby, in fact, I've never watched a full episode of The Cosby Show. Not once. Okay? Never. Okay? I've seen pieces. If you start talking to me about an episode, I wouldn't know anything you're talking about. I did watch A Different World, but I never watched The Cosby Show. Because everyone talk about a great father is. I'm thinking you don't even own us. It's not my fault we're related. And it shouldn't be a bad thing. I'm nobody to be ashamed of, right? Anyway, what happened with Cosby, when he went off on black people, that was just done. Devil. Mm-hmm. Why are you doing that? I mean, you're talking about people not doing what they're supposed to do. You're not even in touch with your own family. And we're not stealing pound cake getting shot. Okay? Anyway, that happened. And a lot of my friends were people, Martin Kilson, my guy, Glenn Ford, a black commentator. A lot of people I knew, the associates of mine, went off on Bill. I didn't say anything. Mm-hmm. All right, so that happened, so moved through that. And when that thing came out about him with that girl Amber, and he'd been banging that white woman, it's like, all this stuff you're talking. See, a lot of folks forget Bill Cosby's daughter, one of his daughters was a big-time freak, druggie, right? Okay. And the reason that they gave that woman that was president of Spelman, and I always forget her name because her name is unusual, and I don't want to call her the wrong name, but the woman who was the president of Spelman back when he gave all that money, that was in part to say thank you to her for preventing his daughter from just going off the deep end, okay? Okay. And by the way, you haven't heard anything from her, so you know who I'm talking about. What's the woman's name that was president of Spelman? You know, I just remembered. I just forgot it that fast. And I can see her face, and she's got like moles around her eyes too. It's fair complected. Mm-hmm. And I keep thinking one person that is not Lynn Huntley of the Southern Education Fund. It's not Olivia Heron. She's a little less than had the Batman cape that was up at Mount Holyoke University. Oh God, I wish I could remember her name. If you got your computer, look at the Spelman presidents, because her name, I mean, I don't see, you don't even hear about her anymore. But this lady was a phenomenal educator. And so as a payment for her saving his daughter's life, at least getting her directed, they gave all that money. That's why that money was given. And in fact, I'm gonna look for this woman's name while I'm talking to you, and I'll bring it up a little later. I just like to be able, because when you talk to black folks, they don't read, they don't research. You know what I'm saying? So you have to say all of that, or if you don't remember the name, Negroes like playing Trivial Pursuit, but they don't like information, which is crazy. I mean, if I say it's the president of Spelman, it's a female, you should be able to look it up and find out what it is. Why do I have to remember all these names, in particular when these people's names are irregular? I'm trying to get into my Google and do this. Forgive me for going off on this tangent, because each time I try to remember, I used to talk to her, and I can't remember. I hate that when it's something like this where you want to remember the name. The reason being, hold on, I'm almost there. Let me see. This lady, hold on one second. Spelman. And now, moving on while I'm looking for this, I wanted to say that Cosby had a lot of things that he did that was great. And I want to say this. He has a tremendous legacy, a tremendous one, right?
Right.
A phenomenal legacy. I'm not trying to take nothing away from me. For me, it's like a familial, personal thing. You know, you can be in a family and have a great family member that everybody loves, but they sort of like didn't look after their own or engage with their own. And that's sort of the feelings I had. But, you know, I was on Twitter, and this white Jewish lady named Michelle started bothering me. I says, God, this woman's trying to get some. And I'm not interested in a white woman. I want a black woman. I mean, I'm just me. I don't understand black men being with white women. I mean, I know some that do. I don't want to be one of them, okay? And this lady would follow me and would write me, and like, okay, I would always front her off. And one day, you know, because, you know, I'd be up on Twitter just laying it down, how I felt about stuff. And she says, I really find you very interesting to read. I'm like, okay, she's macking. Becky Mac, all right. And I'm like, okay, fine. And then one day she says, how do you feel about Bill Cosby? And that was the wrong thing to say to me. I said, fuck Bill Cosby. Are you hearing me, brother?
Oh, yeah. Janetta B. Cole, that's her name?
Janetta Cole. The name is so irregular.
Right.
That's the only person I know with that name, Janetta Cole.
Yeah.
Janetta Cole's a very good sister. I think she's one of the first women presidents of Spelman.
I think she was the first one, yes, sir. Yeah.
And just a phenomenal lady, an awesome sister.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was a good thing for Bill to give, and that was something everybody was proud of.
Right.
Now back to Michelle.
Mm-hmm.
So she says, you know, why are you like that? I mean, I said, this fucking does. I feel fuck him.
Mm-hmm.
And she said, well, so you think he's guilty? I says, no, I don't think Bill Cosby's guilty of rape, but he's guilty of dogging his family. After that nigga, I mean, he just turned his back on us, and then you got all this money for these white hoes. You could have bought some hot dogs for your family during the reunion. That's small stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You know, nobody. You know what my cousin wanted? Thelma, all she wanted from Bill was like a grant where we could put all of the family history from Africa and Canada and the U.S. and Europe and Latin America together. It costs money to do that, and she couldn't do that with Social Security money. And with cheap, backward, small-town Southern folks in our family, yeah, they cheap and send you down in Virginia. I see why people move to the city to get away from that stuff. Okay, yeah, I said that about small-town coons. And Bill Cosby, what he did, which really set me off, was he didn't acknowledge being related to us until Thelma. Okay, Thelma's a woman that Alex Haley ripped off, one of the many people he robbed for Roots. Mm-hmm. That's how respected she was. She got Alex Haley the grant to write the book.
Wow.
And so when Bill waited for her to get dementia to acknowledge that he was related to us after she had been out there since the 50s, and you start dealing with this in the 2000s, you know, wouldn't you? That's a big, you know, he gave her a big professional middle finger. And so I was like, damn, she can't enjoy it now. Mm-hmm. I'm serious. And when I went to see my cousin last, because she had been ripped off by everybody, I mentioned Alex Haley. And my cousin hated Alex Haley so much. She's in a wheelchair, dragging herself around by the back of her feet, screaming at me, saying, "What you come to take from me now, Haley?"
Wow.
I wouldn't have had a friend. I took my other cousin, someone that we have to talk about, Avatar. You know, Avatar was written, it was 2 screenplays called Aquatica and Pollination, written by my cousin Bryant Moore, who's from Albany, New York. He was the president of Howard University's student class. He was the president 1986, president. He went with me to meet my cousin because we all have, you know, she has a house that's like a museum with statues, pictures, you know, like her great-grandfather was John C. Breckinridge, who was the Secretary of War for the Confederacy, Vice President of the United States, and also second runner-up for president behind Lincoln, head of the Constitution Union Party. That's why, you know, people want to do this Confederate stuff. I always tell people, then you have to make me the executive because I have the highest ranking family line in the Confederacy. Not that I want to do it, just I had to tell one devil that I called a friend of mine. You've heard of Wayne Madsen, investigative reporter? Oh, yeah. I was with Peter Bailey, who I think you know of, who's Malcolm X's secretary. And I had Peter Bailey meeting with Dave Chappelle's mom, okay? I was trying to get her a boyfriend. And she's a wonderful lady, okay?
Yes, she definitely is.
And so let me tell you what happened. I called, and this dude started boasting about being at the Confederate Veterans Museum, whatever. And he was so arrogant. And I said to him, you know, you can go to hell, sir. In fact, I need to come and take your job. What did your folks do in the Civil War? Get hit with a mini ball at Pickett's Charge? I said, look, my great-great-great-grandfather was head of the Confederate War Department. Your family was nothing. I need to come in and take your damn job.
What do you say?
Well, he got scared because in reality, a lot of these people don't even know whether their folks fought in the Confederate Army or not. And a whole bunch of black folks are descendants. You know, my mentor, I'll tell you about him. His name is Philip Smith. Okay. Philip Smith was the brother who did a lot of the writing for the Black Power conferences in 66 and 72. There's a man named Philip Smith from Chicago, Philip Smith Jr. In fact, Philip Smith Jr. ran the first campaign that got John Kanye started, first campaign that got Mayor Hatcher started, worked on the campaigns that got Cynthia McKinney back into Congress as well as races before. He worked on the first campaign to get Gibson, the first black mayor in Newark. He worked on Coleman Young's first campaign to get him the first black mayor of Detroit. He gave technical advice for, all right, he's the great-great-grandson of Stonewall Jackson. So if these people want to play these games about these statues and all, then they need to have these people's real family be the interpreters. Nobody will want no Confederate statues if people like me are the ones talking about the history of our family. The white folks will knock them down for us. That's when, the conversation quickly changed. So back to Thelma, she was just tripping, screaming and cussing at Alex Haley. So that means the last time I saw my cousin, because Alex Haley never gave her a penny. The title Roots had nothing to do with Alex Haley's novel. The original title was Before This Anger. Roots was my cousin's name for her genealogical essay on the Brooks Campbell Short family that includes Arthur Ashe and Bobby Short, the piano player, the one that was scoring Gloria Vanderbilt. Well, at least he flew high. Okay, right. And Alex Haley decided to steal her title and put it on his book because his publisher didn't like it. Aside from that, if you've ever read Roots, and Alex Haley's mother, which is his father's sister's name, Shanty. Shanty is my ancestor. Doesn't have a goddamn thing to do with Alex Haley. So I have a signed copy of Roots. I've never bothered to read it because he's a fraud. Now, back to Cosby. This is a sidebar so you can understand this genealogy is serious in our family, okay? Now, moving right along, Cosby, this woman, when I went off on her saying that Bill Cosby, this is Michelle, the Jewish lady, when I went off on Bill Cosby about dissing us, she got happy. I didn't know she was happy, and she began plotting to get me to have a conversation with Bill Cosby, thinking that maybe Bill Cosby could win or at least be vindicated in his upcoming trial if he had his family stand by him. This lady began bugging me over Twitter, so when are you going to help Bill Cosby? I said, damn, look, Bill Cosby doesn't give a damn about us. We don't matter. I don't hate Bill. I don't think, but you know, when black folks make it, they turn on the rest of us. I get it. He's up there. We're down here with nobody. And you know, I got to give this lady some credit. She has heart. She just kept coming after me. Why won't you help Bill Cosby? Bill Cosby is your family. Bill Cosby is your blood. Why do you black people hate each other so much? I mean, why don't you stand up and fight these white people trying to kill him? Just to see you. I've been following you. You're fighting for people in Iran, and you won't fight for your cousin. God damn you. Just going, oh. I mean, this white woman loves Bill Cosby.
You think she had a relationship with Bill Cosby or something?
No. She's a Jewish woman who's an Iraqi Mizrahi Jew who doesn't like other Jews because they're racist. She does like black men, but she said that the Jewish mafia were trying to destroy Bill Cosby, and the same people who had framed Bill Cosby had tried to steal her children in the Montgomery County court system. And it's a bunch of crooked, pedophile, mafia Jews and WASP that don't respect any of the rules, and their scam down there is unsealing people's records, violating consent and other agreements to take people down. And what had happened to Bill had been done to her, and they're trying to steal her child. And she knew the Jewish people that were doing this, and she can't stand those kinds of Jews. Once she started learning about racism, because she worked in the school system, she began to learn how black kids just destroyed for the hell of it by white, and she got mad. So she kept hammering this. I said, look, I don't know if this lady's real. Okay, fine. I'll help Dan Bill Cosby. Go away. And she says, you're really going to help Bill Cosby? I said, yeah, because you're nagging the shit out of me. I don't appreciate it. Just great. So she sends me, you need this phone number. And she sends me this phone number. And you know what crossed my mind, Heard?
What's that?
She's trying to get a booty call. God, white women are persistent. She's not going to get it. I'm not going to give her none. No. But I said, you know what? I'm not going to give her the satisfaction of saying I didn't call. So you know what I did?
What you do?
I waited until about 3:30 in the morning to call the number. I called at 3:30 in the morning, and I left a message. And at 3:45, I got a call back. I was like, okay, here it comes. But it wasn't a white woman's voice. It was a black man's voice. The guy's name is Andrew Wyatt, Bill Cosby's publicist. the one you see leading him around with the fat back meat on the back of his head, the J.C. Penney suit with the glasses on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. He said, well, Short, I think we should talk to you. Okay, fine. We're going to talk to Bill. In fact, we're talking at 4 a.m. He says, do you think you can talk at 7? I'm not going to say no. So I said, yes. But you know what happened?
What?
I overslept.
yeah, I understand that.
So I called him back maybe about 11 o'clock. I got my attorney, my brother, my buddy, Ken Nixon, one of the best black attorneys in the country. And I had him partner with me, and we talked to Andrew White again. And Andrew let Bill know we wanted to talk to him. And this was back in October last year. And Bill and us talked for like 90 minutes. Bill became particularly friendly when he realized I knew about St. Paul College in Lawrenceville. And I even told him that he told my favorite older cousin, Robert Short, who lives in Lawrence, South Carolina, who was on the board of trustees of St. Paul College in Lawrenceville, that in fact Bill Cosby was a part of the Short family. Okay? He couldn't deny, yes, yeah, I know who you told. He told me the day that you told him. You can't make this up. I'm not trying to get a T-shirt. I'm telling you what is. And then Bill began to really just open up. And the thing that was crazy, that was so crazy, I'll just tell you a quick story about Bill Cosby. You know, Bill Cosby grew up in the projects in Philly, right?
Yeah.
Do you know why the Cosby family moved from, in fact, I have to tell you, my cousin Selma Doswell, the genealogist, her oldest son's name is Cosby. It's a common name in our family, first name. So just to show you, this isn't something I'm making up. I'm not, nobody wants a convicted rapist necessarily as a family member. I'm not saying he did it, but, I hope the appeal goes through. But anyway, Cosby's uncle got called a nigger by a white man down in Virginia, and he took a straight razor and decapitated the white man.
Wow.
And that's how the Cosbys got to Philly. I think I told you the stories to my family. Our family history is always the same. Somebody just can't take oppression from white folk that will flip out and do something that's uncharacteristically cruel because they don't like being treated a particular way.
There's a choice, right? He made a choice to do that, to decapitate him.
Yes, right. And he cut the man's head off, and that's how Bill's family got to Philly.
So did he change his last name to Cosby or something, or was it?
No, kept the name.
Okay.
No. My grandfather shot and killed the sheriff's son in Rocky Mount in the 30s, and he didn't change the name. Okay, so, and the stories are all the same for the people in our family. I don't know if you know Dino Dean in Chicago, who does a blog show.
Yeah, I heard of Dino, yeah.
Dino's my cousin, too.
Okay.
Do you know Dino? His folks are from Rocky Mount, and his great-grandfather shot a battle. He's in the Battle family. Okay. Kill somebody white, and they moved to Chicago. And it's the same. Whenever you talk to them, it's always the same. Somebody black couldn't take it, flipped out, and hurt someone. The family had to move. Okay. Yeah. It's not like the movie The Butler. Okay. And in fact, my family was from around Macon. Okay. That's Empire and Chester, Georgia, not far from Macon.
Okay.
Okay. And my great-grandfather, I think, off somebody, and that's how our family moved to North Carolina and changed their name. So the story is always the same. These things run in bloodlines of people who have a kind of behavior that just go off on someone. I think this is I'm hurt someone. So We had a great conversation. It was really, really nice. I did not record it because I promised Mr. Cosby, and I kept my word. So I can't prove it, but I wouldn't lie to you. At the end of the conversation, I told Nixon, because Bill Cosby asked us to please stay in touch, and I told Ken that Andrew Wyatt, the little fat dude that leads Bill Cosby around, was jealous of me because I have an organic connection to Cosby. And he's not going to tolerate me having any rapport with Cosby. He's going to sabotage our effort. What we had wanted to do was get a grassroots campaign together comprised of family and activists to say, we want Bill Cosby to be innocent until proven guilty. We were promised another opportunity to talk to Cosby. And Andrew Wyatt said that he would talk to us in a couple of days. And Andrew Wyatt didn't keep his word. By the time we caught back up with Andrew Wyatt, I was in Montreal, Canada. And he played games with us that day. When we finally got him, Ken and I had put together a proposal called Preserving a Legacy. We had asked for a small sum of resources to get a bunch of experts and black folk who would fight for Cosby better than what these Jews were doing. The guy got angry and says, why should I give you so much money? He says, you don't have to give us. See what we can do for him before you tell us no. We ain't greedy. We understand nothing's free, but we'll work for it. And he was just really nasty and stank about it. Mind you, they paid Mazzaro millions, and he failed. We asked him for thousands. That's reasonable. Bill Cosby stood to lose millions. Come on, man. If you had millions of dollars, tens, hundreds of millions, and everything you had was at stake, and someone says, hey, look, I think we can help you for a few $100,000. Does that sound like a big loss? And what you need to know is that there have been a bunch of black lawyers who've been paid up to $500,000 apiece who didn't even submit an invoice to Cosby. They did no work. If you could, these people were working against Cosby, taking money from the enemies of Cosby and Cosby's money and didn't deliver it, and they didn't even ask for it back.
What about the Presley? What about the Monique Presley? I mean, what was her?
I believe was run out by Wyatt. I don't feel like Wyatt is competent. I do know that he has lied. He has lied to Bill Cosby about the extent of work that he's done. If you look up Wyatt and try to find out about the firm that he says he represents, you can't find it on the internet. It's hard to find. Who is he? Who is this guy? Yeah. Do you know what Andrew Wyatt told us? And I have a witness to this, that he had an extensive social media campaign to protect and put out the word on Bill Cosby. Have you seen it? That's what he says. And he said no media was really willing to let Bill speak.
That's not true. I bet there's a whole bunch of people that love to help Bill speak.
Exactly. Now you see my point. Since I have nothing to lose, my conclusion is that Mr. Wyatt is either wittingly or unwittingly causing Bill Cosby's demise. Okay? I had people at RT and Press TV, and I could have gotten others interested in Bill Cosby. But the person that was blocking it was Mr. Wyatt. Bill Cosby said he wanted to speak to us again. Mr. Wyatt never let that happen. Now, what happened when we spoke to him on the phone in October of last year, he got angry about the money, which wasn't a whole lot. I need to let you know it was under $200,000. And it wasn't going to all go into anybody's pocket. It was to do oppositional research and other things to help Cosby. He got into an argument with Ken, and he says, Mr. Cosby's my client. He's a client as a client. And what Ken says is, for me, Bill Cosby is not a client. He's a cause. Guy got mad. And that's when I tried to come in, because I was silent for most of it. And I said, Andrew, what you need to understand, brother, is that the next trial is set for April. April is the 50th anniversary, or the commemorative anniversary of Dr. King's assassination in Memphis, April 4th. Brother, they killed the dreamer in April, and they want to kill one of their leading exponents of the dream in April 50 years later. They're going to hook Bill Cosby up to Me Too, which he's not a part of. And they're going to, it says, if you don't let us help you, they're going to convict Bill Cosby within just about 3 weeks after the anniversary of Dr. King's assassination. In a speedy trial, it's going to happen so fast. It doesn't have to be that way. He slammed the phone down on me. He claimed that his phone cut off. It's not true. He did not want us to help Bill. Are you hearing me, Herd?
Yeah.
Didn't Bill Cosby get convicted just about 3 weeks after Dr. King's assassination?
At the end of April, yeah.
Okay. Some people say I'm a prophet. I'm not trying to be a psychic. I'm just being however I'm led to be. Okay, have you noticed I tell you about stuff and it happens?
Yeah.
That's God. It's not me. I don't know anything about the future.
Mm-hmm.
Happened just like I said. I haven't heard from that dog. He can't admit. And see, if you had told me something months in advance, almost to the day, I would have to come back and say, brother, I made a mistake. Can you help me? But he did send us an email. Our services and our communication with him is no longer desired and would be of basically no use.
And it's Andrew Wyatt.
Yes, but Andrew Wyatt no one can get to Cosby. You have to go through Wyatt.
So, I went to something, I researched something right quick, and it linked to his LinkedIn page. And it says he's from Birmingham, Alabama. But I saw an article about him being Cosby, who was Andrew Wyatt from 2 years ago, but it can't find too much anything else on him.
That's it. He hasn't done the work for Cosby. It's the elephant in the room is this bubblicious coon.
Bubblicious coon, wow.
And nobody's just, you can't talk to Camille. And so Bill Cosby is going to go to jail. And every time Bill Cosby gets screwed in the media, he gets screwed in the media when he went to that AP meeting. Remember Bill Cosby, the guy jumps out in the rape thing? You know who set up the interview?
Who?
Andrew Wyatt. Good Morning America, the day after the trial, and Andrew Wyatt's talking about Bill Cosby's walking around as a free man. And then the judge says that Bill Cosby's under house arrest, is going to need an ankle collar. I would have said my man was free. Remember when Bill Cosby comes out of the trial and it's a hung jury, and this guy declares it's a legal victory, and he has his fist up in the air, black power. Would you do that if you knew Montgomery County is the home of the Klan?
Nope.
That's the person that's Bill Cosby. After all this talking about black folks and so forth, and I kind of get part of what he's talking about, he's being done in by greedy Jews and this coon. I've asked people in Birmingham. I'm trying to find anybody, does anyone know this guy? And you can't find anything. This, a real reputable PR firm, there should be more. Don't you think?
Most definitely, yeah.
So, but no, and where's the black press? Nobody asks nothing. Do you realize they have some sort of consent? You try to find Monique Presley, you can't, there's no email, there's nothing. They made her disappear. Anybody, you can't get in. I reached out to Alvin Poussat, Nope, I won't help you. You can't talk to him. No, just go away. He's busy.
That's nice.
So Bill Cosby's being led to the slaughter by this Judas Goat Coon and the Kosher Nostra thugs. What do I think they want? The same way they want Michael Jackson's catalog and they want Prince's catalog and his masters. They want a different world, and all the stuff is going to be in the hands of Khazarian thugs. They don't have a damn thing to do with no rape. In fact, as ugly as some of those broads were, they should be glad Bill was willing to drug them and give them some. In fact, maybe he had to take the drugs to go down on anything so ugly.
Wow.
And it's interesting, just before Bill Cosby died, those white lesbians in California that raped those and abused and starved those black kids out in the Pacific Northwest and then killed them in California, nobody talks about that. And they used a little silly black woman with the fake Indian jury to talk bad about Bill Cosby. Let's see how fast before people even forget about her. We got a lot of useless black women. I'm telling you, useless. Just they think because they got a white girlfriend that they matter. I'm so tired. And then you know the other thing that got me, the little idiot black woman that had little idiot sister had her breasts exposed. Remember that? She ran out and attacked Bill Cosby?
Yeah.
You know she had a white boyfriend, right?
Didn't know that.
You start seeing a lot of these idiot black women that are doing a lot of this craziness. They all have white girlfriends or white husbands or boyfriends that use them. They're like weaponized Sally Hemings.
Wow.
That's all I'm going to say. Bill Cosby's being betrayed, targeted by the Jews. By the way, I want to remind people, remember Herman Cain was running for president?
Yeah.
And one bimbo after the other showed up, and it was causing Herman Cain's wife to have heart problems. Who was behind it? Jewess Gloria Allred, who represented the Goldman family and the Brown family against O.J.
Right.
Gloria Allred, who went after Eddie Murphy in relationship to the Spice Girl. Gloria Allred, who gave the little Swedish tramp all of Tiger Woods' money. Gloria Allred. And I want to point out a coon in this thing. The one with the James Brown wig. Her name is Maxine Waters. In fact, she needs to go to the emergency room and get some Botox. They say black don't crack, but she's an exception to the rule. You know who's buddies with Gloria Allred?
Who?
Maxine Waters. If you saw the Dick Gregory funeral, remember Maxine Waters said to Bill Cosby, a friend in need is a friend indeed?
Right.
What a lie. How can you be friends to Gloria Allred and be friends to Bill Cosby, Maxine Waters? You're fake. You used to be relevant. You don't even have any black people in your district, and you support DACA. You're a contradiction aside from being unattractive. Now, we can do the royal wedding in about 2-3 minutes, okay?
All right.
First and foremost, who cares? Number two, they're trying to make Martin Luther King the Bartholomew de las Casas for miscegenation and black folks being wiped out, us being replaced by the Hispanics and us integrating into a mess of pottage, which is also a burning house. The royal family has gotten rich off of the extermination and theft of black people's resources. Some black woman or half black woman getting a half-time, half-size penis from a dude who used to wear Nazi uniforms, whose father isn't really Prince Charles. Okay, and I'm not impressed. I mean, I'd rather have fake Wakanda over fake Westminster Abbey. And for all the little ignorant black people thinking it's such a great thing to be in the royal family, they forget that Queen Charlotte was black. And did she do anything to abolish the slave trade when England had the Asiento to trade in black folks? No. So all this talk about this Markle, and yet most black folks in America haven't heard about the Windrush, Windrush, generation controversy, where the British government was trying to kick up to 1 million blacks or more out of England. Wow. Pretending that those people didn't have citizenship because the Home Secretary destroyed the records showing when their families came to England between the late 1940s and 1980.
Wow.
So what, having a half-black queen who doesn't know who she is, what's that going to do for folks in their 80s and 90s within the last few months that got letters being told they need to go back to Jamaica, Trinidad, or Montserrat? And they've been in England 50, 60, 70 years.
Mm-hmm.
She's going to say anything? That's like saying Obama's going to say something about the cops killing our kids. Or for that matter, Kamala Harris, who looks like, what's his name, Joe Morton from He does. And Joe Morton's prettier.
Wow. You know, it was Mike Brown's birthday today, too. I mean, he said Obama, you know, what happened to people in Ferguson?
Yeah.
Got sprayed with chemicals, and, you know, his own constituents.
Obama didn't do nothing. In fact, you know that they've released that Inspector General report, and one of the things in it is that Loretta Lynch was trying to make a deal with the New York police not to expose Hillary Clinton as a pedophile that rapes and abuses children.
Wow.
And that there are all these predator pedophiles in Congress that they had pictures of that Uma Abedin gave to her husband. Anthony Wing, one that kept showing his undersized penis to underage girls who's doing like 2 years in jail. Okay. Do you know that Loretta Lynch said, hey, look, if y'all keep these pictures and stuff quiet, I promise to not let anybody arrest the officers that murdered Eric Garner and the other black people. But if you guys release this stuff, we're going to have Black Lives Matter turn New York out. Remember, Black Lives Matter was like every day. There's not that many white folk in the world that care about black people, so I know that's bull. Mm-hmm. Notice how Black Lives Matter stopped after this Pizzagate stuff started hitting? You didn't see them in New York anymore? Think about it. So, you know, Obama gave millions of dollars, over $7 million to Black Lives Matter. What a lot of people don't know is that Hillary Clinton's group gave $18 million to a Black Lives Matter clone group called Black Youth 100. Okay. All those protests were funded by enemies of black people. All right? And so when people say Obama couldn't have helped and all that stuff, it's not true. They used the murder of black people as a voter registration tool. And it backfired. And Trump won. So, and instead they're living, every time a black got killed, they were hoping, and the Clinton campaign is even on the record saying that that was good for them each time a black person was murdered by the police. Talking about super predator. Are you feeling me?
I hear you. Yes, sir.
And when I see these black women running after Hillary, y'all some dumb cows. Do I think that Trump is black folks' best friend? No, black people need to be their own best friend, along with God Almighty. And I know our worst enemies are coons and racists, and I don't know in which order some days. Now, come on, bring me some questions. Hawaii, I mean, it's stupid. Why would you try to live on top of a volcano? Shoot, that's like trying to go to an orgy at an AIDS conference. It's dumb.
But where can
dumb.
you
That's
really go
dumb.
though? I mean, you can't escape hurricanes, tornadoes, and earthquakes. There's always some type of danger.
But building on top of a volcano,
Well,
would you put your genitals in a microwave? I mean, there are lots of places you can put. I guess you're free. It's a free country.
mm-hmm.
I'm tired of that. People are silly. Okay. No, you shouldn't be on a volcano. And in fact, there are 4 volcanoes on the big Hawaii Islands. 5 big volcanoes. The one that's there, that's spewing out lava now, is one of the most active in the world.
Mm-hmm.
You can drive for 20 miles and still be on top of it. I mean, why would you want to be on a volcano that big? How much of it can erupt? Nobody really knows. I mean, trust me, U.S. Geological Society. They only know when the stuff happens. If there's an earthquake, I know my house is falling down. Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Please. And oh my God, brother, did you like the movie Black Panther?
I mean, I found it interesting. It was very watchable, and I saw it twice. And I mean, people were crazy.
I saw it twice too.
Yeah.
I called it Whack Panther.
Okay. And
I found all kinds of things awful about the film. I would give it a C.
Okay.
I wouldn't give it an A. I know a lot of people like Killmonger, but if you recall, the film is basically bookended by the African that like Black Americans gets murdered, and the African American or the African American mix basically opts to die versus spending his life in jail. So the father would have been mass incarcerated, and the son is mass incarcerated. How is that a paradise? And then there's all kinds of symbolism. Remember the bald-headed sister that all the women are so proud of, and that woman, man, she's got more testosterone than Wesley Snipes in his prime. Okay. Remember when she threatens to kill the man that she's supposed to care about?
Right.
Remember he drops his sword? Did you notice that the rhino drops its horn? Rhino horn is something that you eat to make your penis hard. People believe the Chinese, that's why the rhinos are all being killed off. That's a symbolic castration of the black man right there in front of people. Folks didn't see it.
Wow.
To ask yourself, why would the hero be a man, a black man? First of all, his hair's too long for me. I mean, and then why are you killing all the women in the film? He didn't love one woman. There's no real love. He shot the woman in the head that he halfway slobbered on. He choked out this one woman for only doing what her work was. He had no love for women. I thought that was very faggy. I did. And he even poisoned the white woman. I mean, at least he didn't go out with her. That's unusual. But anyway. So he kills women and creates mayhem. And by the way, the CIA agent's the hero.
Right.
Come on. I mean, that's garbage. And then the dude talking like Malcolm, not Malcolm X, but Nelson Mandela, okay? Nelson Mandela was a coon, y'all. Nelson Mandela's a coon. I mean that. Mandela's a coon. And Mandela had a white boyfriend. Fact.
Wow.
Are you challenging me? Look, it's like this. There's a book called I Rode With or I Drove. It's a film from 1980s, late 1980s or early 1990s, about the homosexual man that Mandela lived with for the years he was running from the boss, the South African Secret Service. And what most people don't know is that white man was so in love with Nelson Mandela that he refused to destroy Mandela's papers because it's sort of like a woman keeping a strand of a man's hair or keeping all the stuff. Like, my father's deceased. My mother's we've had food in this house that my father never ate. It's been here for like 7 years, but, that was your father. Right? Well, this white dude had all of Mandela's stuff. He wouldn't destroy it, which was the orders from the ANC people, and he wouldn't do it. And when the South African people raided his house, the papers found in the white man's house was how they were able to nail Mandela. His white boyfriend, who, by the way, was loyal to the end of Mandela. You know, a lot of people don't know. I mean, forgive me, I have friends in the Mandela family. I mean, my favorite one's Winnie, she's gone. But that South Africa is the first country in the world to make homosexual rights constitutional.
Wow.
That's what Mandela, and the first things Mandela did when he came out of jail was did all this stuff for gay people. To this day, the blacks in South Africa don't have much to show for apartheid supposedly ending. But gay folks have never, it's the best of times. Isn't it interesting how Mandela and Obama are about the same?
I was thinking, when you were saying that, I was thinking about Obama.
And by the way, did you know that Mandela and them let all the illegal aliens from Africa come into South Africa, which has caused the black South Africans to suffer?
I didn't know that part. Oh.
Not the same. Doesn't it sound the same?
Oh, yeah. And it sounds like America.
Right. Right. Same. So Mandela, Now, come on. Let's kick it some more. Because we can do another one of these if you want. Now, how much longer do you want to go with this?
I want to ask you about, I'm curious about Denise LaSalle. I know you did some work with her a couple years back.
Lots of that, sure. Okay, oh my God. Denise LaSalle. All right, let's do this real fast. I met Denise LaSalle, I would say, 10 years ago. Okay. I worked for her husband, James Wolfe, after I was unfairly terminated from Lane College. It's called the West Tennessee Cultural Heritage Association. Wolfe is also known as Super Wolf. When I first moved to Jackson, Tennessee in 2007, I remember someone taking me to see their house. I didn't, remember, but what happened is they went to the same church that I joined called Mother Liberty, which is the mother church of the CME Church. It's based in Jackson, Tennessee. This is the new one because I think the 1992 tornado destroyed the original Mother Liberty church. In a nutshell, I have a book with a huge chapter on Denise LaSalle about the life of James Wolfe. I finished this, several hundred pages long. I gave that to James Wolfe in 2010, and he didn't do anything with it, and he just bugged me, would you come back and work on this book? So I came back, and I worked on it. I stayed with the Wolves from February 24th almost till Thanksgiving of 2015. I lived in the basement. They live on I think Henderson Road in Jackson. I think it's Henderson Road. And one of the things that I did do, what you need to know is that when I lived in Jackson in 2010, James Wolfe wanted Denise to do a song, and they couldn't come up with words, and I'm good with words. So I wrote lyrics up for a song called A Blood Donor Saved My Life. So they had been stumped for a few weeks, and I just wrote something in 2-3 minutes and sent it to them. And I'm one of the few people on the planet that Denise LaSalle would ever consent to work with and doing lyrics for a song. So that's how highly she thought of my word flow.
Wow.
When I came back, I basically worked for James and Denise. I went with her to the B.B. King funeral where Denise LaSalle spoke. That would have never happened had I not gone because the people did not know she was there. And I was behind stage. I gave my seat to Denise because it was packed in Indianola. And I said, excuse me, if you're going to have Stevie Wonder, who did call in to say something, why not have the Queen of the Blues? She's up front waiting to speak. Why can't she speak? So if you ever see the video of the B.B. King funeral, you'll see I'm behind her, holding her up, helping her get on the stage to speak. That really helped her remind people she was still alive. And there are other things I would do for her, you know, cook, clean. We were talking about a song. I don't know if she finished it, but I had a song idea for her that I called the Cougar Twerk.
Oh, okay.
Do the Cougar Twerk. Can you imagine?
Oh, yeah.
And so we would sit down, you know, and just talk. Of course, I was writing stuff for her husband as well as doing lots of work for him that he didn't pay me for. I helped redo her bios. I got her an honor from the governor as an ambassador, an arts ambassador for the state of Tennessee. And what I tried to do was put some steam in her career. Her husband, James, is basically, he's a kind of manipulative music industry spouse, okay? I'm being generous. And he didn't like me helping her. One of the things that happened, I'll just say this, he never wanted to pay me for the work I did for him. I didn't bug them. I just told a friend of mine who got very close to Denise, and I'll give you her number, and she can talk about Denise better than I. I basically told my friend Janet, who was asking me, are they paying me or whatever? I said, you know, Janet, sometimes people need to do the right thing. If they don't pay me, they don't treat me right, they're going to have bad health and one of them's going to die no more than 2 years after I leave. I don't want that. I want people to treat me right. I wasn't asking for a whole lot. In fact, I've done all kinds. You know, folk who are activists, helper type, black folk, there are a lot of black folks who say they don't like slavery, but they in fact love it. They won't give you 5 cents if they had $10 million, but want $100 million worth of work out of you. Worse than white folks.
Yeah.
Okay. I left in November 2015, right? And I said, about 2 years. She passed January 8th, 2018.
Okay.
So it's just about 2 years, like I said. And by the way, Wolf and her have been off and on between the two of them, in and out of the hospital. She's a very nice lady, an excellent cook. There's a lot more stuff. I'm not going to say it out there because I don't want to, you know, I genuinely care about, if I like you, I don't try to dog you even if we have an issue with one another. I'll leave you alone. I'm not going to do anything to you.
But I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I was asking you if she ever talked about the Al Jackson murder, Al Jackson Jr., the Stax drummer who was killed in his home, supposed home invasion. They said that the FBI said it was an ex-boyfriend, or somebody was saying it was an ex-boyfriend that was involved in his murder. Did she ever talk about Al Jackson Jr. at all, or Stax?
No, not that one. The things that Denise kept a lot of secrets, you know. And Denise is a loyal friend. If she's your friend, she'd do for you. I mean, she's just a good person. Look, when I first moved back from working for her husband, who wasn't really giving me anything, I didn't have enough money to pay my phone bill. I didn't have any money after I moved.
Right.
You know, she called me and said, God want me to bless you. You have a bill that needs to be paid. I said, so which one is it? And I said, well, I need my phone bill paid. She went in and paid my phone bill. And that helped me get back on my feet, just having access to a phone. She has a heart of gold. I mean, just there's so much. I mean, that it's sort of like Malcolm Shabazz. Certain things you know, they're so quick to tear people down in our community. Until I don't want to be the person that's always the one that goes and kicks someone. So the way I'm going to say this is that she talked about different things, but not about that. I think one of her friends, I'm trying to think, what's the one that sings through the years, I keep on toiling? And I'm trying to think of his name. It's not Oris Mays. Not Oris Mays. One of the people died. Let me see. We were just with him. I have these pictures. I have to send you a copy of one.
Mm-hmm.
But Denise was so loved by her musicians and other people. But she didn't talk badly about people typically. I mean, and if she did this not with me, you know, and I could just tell you she loved children, fanatically loved kids. And, but she had a lot of things break her heart, you know. When I was there, her adopted son went into drug rehab. Her granddaughter, through Ray Wolf, Ray's daughter, well, I'll just call what it is, has gotten hard into lesbianism and drugs. Has consistently been in trouble going back to 2015. I don't know where she is right now. These things have been some real rough things that have happened in her family. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And now that she's gone, you know, what happened with Denise, one of the first things that happened is that she had a stroke. What my friend claims is that she was talking bad about me when she had a stroke or a massive heart attack, and she had to have a triple bypass surgery. I don't know if that's true, because my friend is embellishing, but I know that James Wolf was very mad because he claims I didn't give him what I gave him. Can you imagine if I've written a 500 or 400-page book for you? You haven't given me $100, and you feel like you've been robbed?
Right. Wow.
Not only that, I wrote maybe about 80 business letters. I probably helped raise $25,000 for him. I want to let you know he didn't give me $250. Okay. I get your wife in the international news, right? National news. I get the Jackson papers to start picking her up, and the Memphis papers picking her up. Remember, this stuff started to get back around her in 2015, remember?
Mm-hmm.
That's when I was working on it. I did this over the objections of her husband, who didn't want me to do anything for her. He would always compete with her. He's a jealous Negro. Fact. Real talk. Okay? And my thing is, I'm going to help her whenever she asks me. Denise had sciatic nerve damage. And what ended up happening is, you know, Denise apparently was a diabetic. I didn't know that. And that diabetes started to spread. And they first, I think they're looking at taking her foot, and then they ended up cutting her a significant part of her leg off, and that it just it wasn't going to get better after that, you know. And Wolf, whose health isn't that good, and he's got some new woman who couldn't wait to put her in the ground to spend the money. When people sending him money when she was sick, you know, he was like Wilma and Betty from the Flintstones. Charge it, okay? I'm not lying. And, you know, when I reached out and said, hey, I'm praying for you, I never got a response. he didn't want me talking to her. Okay, and that's how some people are. And so Wolf, I hope he's able to do something, because in many ways, much of the money that she earned and generated, which was in the millions, I don't think he handled. In fact, I'm certain he didn't handle properly or wisely. And so as a result of bad business deals and other things, a lot of what she had earned ended up not amounting to much, because it got wasted. You know, he bought real estate in downtown Jackson, but the buildings weren't necessarily the best of buildings. One of them was okay, but it cost a lot to maintain. You get where I'm coming from. Then the white folks didn't want to do business with him. And then Wolf had a way of dealing with black folks, but black folks don't like dealing with them. So, and then he didn't make the amount of money that he could have made when he sold the radio stations that he owned. And when he tried to get he was working on a lease to own arrangement for WP, World Gospel Power Radio, something like that. I worked a couple of nights. I worked for the radio station that Wolf was trying to get. The white folks deliberately sabotaged the transmissions and things to make the station fail. And Wolf was working with this lesbian sister who promised to help him get ad revenue. I warned Wolf that she's not going to do anything. And she basically made the station fail. And Wolf ended up, they had financial problems from 2011 forward. Now, maybe he's out of it now that Denise has died, and there's been a resurgent interest in the music, more radio plays, there's more royalty money. But that's sort of Denise for you. A very nice lady, talented lady. She has a lot of music people haven't even heard that's really quite good. And it's in the hands of her husband. Let's see what he does with it. But I can assure you, she really did deserve more help from her husband, more proper management, and I think she trusted him. You know, a lot of women in the business let their husbands or boyfriends be their managers, and sometimes that's not the wisest of things.
Wow.
And I hope I don't sound like I don't love Denise LaSalle, because that's not the way I'm trying to talk.
I'm fine. Just speaking the truth, man. I mean, you're more witness to her. You know, everything ain't peachy. You know, it's life. You know, life could be hard and unforgiving and not fair, but, you know, it is what it is.
Yeah. Now, there's a chance that they can preserve that legacy, but we'll see. I'll leave it there. So let me see. How much longer do you want to go? We need to do this more often, Hurt.
I definitely agree. I definitely agree with that. I mean, we could cut off right now, or because so much stuff we can get into, but I'll definitely connect with you very soon.
Very good. Very good.
You're a man on the move, man. But you're right about that. We don't take care of our people, man. You know, Malcolm X died broke. Yeah, people say we love Malcolm X and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Well, we love those that hate us and hate those that love us. Mm. We've got everything backwards. You know, if a coon were to make a body, he would put the buttocks on the front side and the genitalia in the back.
Wow.
So anyway, I look forward. Send me a link on this. We're gonna share this, and brother, I've enjoyed it. I wish there's so much more to talk about. I mean, we got to talk about Iran. We got to talk about Syria.
I will. Like I said, we'll do it more often. I mean, I've been traveling and stuff, and on the road and stuff. But I definitely reach out back out to you because I definitely enjoy what you've been doing with Brother Darren Muhammad. I think it's a shame that, I don't know what's going on with Carl Nelson, why he won't let other people or certain people come back on the show. But
I will tell you what I think it is. I can't, I'm not saying it so or anything like that, but I'm going to just say this.
Mm-hmm.
Number one, the allegation is that Kathy Hughes' son is super pro LGBTQ, and so people who speak out on that are in trouble. There's a lot of advertising for people that are pro LGBTQ that are going. In fact, if I quoted the little lesbian who was angry because when I was on Carl's show, he slipped in one of these lesbians from Black Lives Matter. And to me, if you come at me like a man and you're a woman, I'm going to treat you like a man.
Mm-hmm.
I don't come at women like I don't respect them. I don't do that. And I'm not going to have a woman come at me because it's not fair. A lot of sisters are out of order and a lot of men are out of order.
Right.
But I punished that lesbian on there, and I do it again. And he tried to lower my mic, and I just raised my voice and just went toe-to-toe with that broad.
Mm.
And but she says, Carl, you can't let this happen. We've been good to you.
We've been good to you.
Yep. And, yep.
Wow.
And see, let's do this because we got to talk about Carl Nelson a little bit since this has come up. It's not just me. It's also Irritated Jeannie.
Mm-hmm.
So all the people that are black, nationalistic, that don't want to bow down to LGBTQ have been excluded. I don't hate folk who are same-sex people. Look, I live I grew up in D.C.
Right.
In fact, my last name is short, but I never wear shorts. I learned after about time I was like 15 years old, don't wear shorts because of all the dudes hollering at you.
Mm-hmm.
Never wear, you'll never see me with shorts on. Everything's always full length and loose fitting. Okay, because I live in D.C. That's how bad it is here, all right? My parents had a ministry full of people that are LGBTQ. Live in my house, okay? I'm just real talk. I know what it's like to come home from school. Not in the 90s or the 2000s, but 1975, come home from school, and there are like 20 gay people on my front porch. And I'm coming home from school with the other kids looking at me with the eyes like Hootie Owl.
Mm-hmm.
And so this idea that if you, just because you're critical of something on an honest basis means you hate people, they don't know a damn thing about the life that a lot of people have led. They don't know that I volunteered and worked with folks that had AIDS, so people didn't even know how you caught it, right?
Mm-hmm.
They don't know that my mother worked with people who were gay, dying from syphilis. I used to go to work with my mother. I don't hate people, but I'm honest about the consequences of choices that people make. And it is a choice. To lay down with someone, to give yourself to someone is a choice. You were not born with the gene to put your penis in a woman or in a man. That requires, unless it's rape, a choice. You weren't born with someone's cooch in your mouth. No one's born with a vagina on their mouth. You have to put it there. Why are people this is pseudoscience, quack madness in the country. It's despicable. I don't hate nobody, but don't force this. Now, you need to know that the pastor that I know, you need to have Earl Carter on your show. Have you ever had Carter on there, the one that's been exposing the Church of God in Christ having all the pedophiles?
No, I have not had him on at all.
Would you have him? Are you afraid to have him on?
I'm not, no. I mean, I'm open to it.
Okay, well, good. I'm going to send you his number.
Mm-hmm.
Let me try to get him on Carl's show, and Carl told me his sound man goes to the church where all the gay people are in Los Angeles, so he couldn't. Is
it Bishop Blake Church or somebody else? Okay,
Bishop Blake's church. He couldn't take a stand it would hurt him too much to even discuss the situation.
Well, I mean, Memphis is where Kojic started, so I mean, I'm in a the guy that got his Matthews. They talk about that a lot.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't hate Blake. Blake was good to my father and mother.
Right.
I'm not mad at anyone, but if you did it, you did it.
Right.
Okay. If you kick someone out of the church for preaching out of the Bible, why are you in church? Why don't you set up a cult where it's okay to be same-sex attracted? Don't be in the church. I mean, the Bible's very clear about how we're supposed to conduct ourselves. And it doesn't say that even if you're tempted or you've done it, that you keep doing it. The Bible says, I must decrease so God can increase. I can't say, well, I want to do what I want to do and be a good believer. No, you're not. You may as well worship yourself. Now, some things I want to just mention. There's a really good trailer of a film. I need to find some people, brother, that can show a film in either Memphis or Chicago, whatever. The film is called Black, White, and Blue. And, I'm featured in it. It's a documentary by Curtis School. Mm-hmm. And then there's another one. Did you see my second documentary called Dred Scott Nation?
Yeah, when did it come? It came out like a couple years ago.
It came out in 2015.
Yeah, I seen that. Because you went to St. Louis. I mean, you went there and interviewed some people.
Yeah. Of course,
I knew one of the people you interviewed, a young sister named Kiara. I know her. Kiara Lynn Smith, I believe.
Right.
Yeah, she's a young artist in St. Louis.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And let me see. There's several people I need to introduce you to. Now, the other thing is that I hope, in fact, do you have any listeners in Baltimore?
I mean, I got people a little bit everywhere that listen to the show.
I hope that. Yeah. Do I need to give them my phone number? I want some folks to reach out to me. We're trying to overturn police brutality and mass incarceration. Mm-hmm. That's the last thing I should talk about, and we can pick this up again. I'm working with Brother Anthony Wiggins.
Okay.
He's the brother that's been bringing the Justice Department to shut down corruption in the city of Baltimore. The whole effort that what we want to do is get a sheriff in who can effectively demand the vacation of all the elected offices in the city. Since these people won't stand up for the people, we're going to demand that they go.
Mm-hmm.
How you like that? Imagine black folk rising up against these Democratic coons.
Well, it's a long time coming.
The time is now.
Yeah.
To me, I would rather have a regular bowel movement that didn't have it all come out at one time. Diarrhea with you overrun, just get it out.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't know. I mean, I would like to hear from folks if they find some of what we're talking about interesting. Should I do that? Tell them how to contact me.
I mean, go with your spirit. Whatever you feel like doing, feel free to do it.
Okay. Well, let me just do this. If you want to reach out to me, I'm at wrandyshort@gmail.com. Randy Short at Facebook. Randy Short 1965 on Instagram. Dr. W. Randy Short on LinkedIn. If you call me and it's not too crazy, it's 202-710-4294. 202-710-4294. We're looking for some people, man, to help us turn stuff around in Baltimore.
Mm-hmm.
We need to put this brother, Anthony Wiggins, and get a brother who literally had his teeth kicked in by the cops for standing up against injustice to be the next sheriff. He's got the background, the experience. He's had over 50,000 people vote for him and 2 elections with no money and no campaign.
Wow.
If we can raise a little bit of money, get a few volunteers, the one city in the country that has the lowest homicide closure rate. I mean that in the city of Baltimore, for every 100 murders, only 10 get solved. We got to change this to have the same no good sheriff. We call him Overdose Anderson because he's never seen the key of drugs that he didn't think didn't belong on the street. We got to get rid of these people. They've been there 30 years letting this stuff go on. They plant guns on people. They murder people. They sell drugs. The cops are dirty terrorists driving our community crazy, oinking and leaving poo-poo everywhere. And they need to be reined in. And we need some help. I'm a strategist. I know with 5 to 10 good people, if we could win in Baltimore, we could create a model that could be taken to other cities to show black folks how to empower themselves, how to coordinate a coup. We need regime changes in our communities. We need the coons to be put out for the freedom fighters to come in. And I'll leave it there. In fact, brother, you have my permission to put for this segment piece a way for folks to contact me. And I'll just say, if you're crazy with me, I'll be crazy with you. If you're gracious with me, I'll be gracious with you.
Right.
It's best for people to email me so I can read what you're saying, because they do all kinds of weird stuff with my phone. And, yeah, there's so much more to talk about. In fact, I haven't even talked like Donald Trump. I haven't done Trump on your show before.
No, well, we'll have some more segments coming up. You know what I'm saying? There'll be no problem, because there's like a couple things I want to think about right now. But I know it'll probably take some more in-depth, analysis to talk about. I know we talked about a couple things off the record, earlier in the day. So we'll definitely be back on.
Yeah, well, we need to talk about these white guys shooting everybody.
Yep.
And South Africa and Haiti, and you hear the United States isn't respecting Venezuela's election. Man, these folks want to fight everywhere. And you know what? All these coons that don't stand up, their kids are going to be drafted one day, sent off to another country to die. But, that's not like it.
Yep. Yes, sir.
So let me let you rest. You have peace, my brother.
That's sure to be the same.
All right.
Thank you so much, man. We love you madly, in the words of the cousin. Take care of yourself.
All right. Bye-bye.
All right, bye-bye.